So we're in today's delegate meeting, 3rd of August. We're using Notion. The agenda is now visible right here. It looks like a long list, but it's relatively straightforward. We're going to go, the focus of the agenda for the delegate meetings can be around the working groups. So we can talk about the tech working group and get perspective from the folks in that group, the comms working group, finance, governance, and incubator. And so we just need to, Nicholas has got a pitch to run us through, and so we can put that in the appropriate place. And then we got general discussion and Q&A. So as usually happens, we have the tech to go first because Luca doesn't want to hang around for the whole thing. I'm not sure if Luca's here today, but over to you, Mo, if you want to take us through the tech stuff.
The research and fixing the delay in most that had in the Upvotbot, that was finished. And then some people experienced non-working members portal, which gave us an idea to make a voting function to the bot. The function was partially deployed, but you need to wait 10 minutes till round is over to get message with pre-filled blocks.io link in it, and one field you still needed to copy paste the account info into. The idea is to make selection in the bot itself via custom buttons or poll feature, and then get a link that pre-fills all the fields, only requiring signature. And has started on splitting the logic of collecting info from two sources, the table and elect vote history, instead of one give SBT. Currently, the rotation and Telegram group management used one source. Now it needs to be separated. So that's the updates from the Upvotbot. Another point of discussion that occurred in the tech dev meeting was the idea of creating an EOS account for new members that are joining Eden, have it be part of the creation of their profile. And it was an interesting debate on ways to accomplish that, whether or not we hold on to the keys, whether or not when we release the keys to the people, depending on any number of issues that we could decide on how we formulate that, I guess. But it was a proposal that was put forth and discussed, and maybe anyone that wants to also add their opinion to that today would be of interest to see how we could go about that. I think at the very least, facilitating an EOS account to new Eden on EOS or Eden members in general would be a good idea. It would eliminate a little bit of the friction of creating a new EOS account with your Eden profile. Okay, and in terms of the reputation system, what we are working on is from the UI side. We have Adam here who's going to be starting that up next week, hopefully. And from the backend side, we have Sachin, who is now working on expiring the SPTs or the NTTs once they're emitted, which will help with the dispute resolution as well, once we're emitting NTTs based on how people are acting or
Sure. Dom, if you've got anything to add here, then please go ahead because you're on the Hypha team as well. We just had another demo day with the internal team. Things are looking genuinely imminent from my perspective of Hypha being able to launch the beta version, which has been months in preparation. Immediately after that, so potentially from next week, then the focus shifts on, I shared a 1-minute video by one of the designer that is working on the Eden election process inside of Hypha. And if you didn't see that video, I think I shared it in the tech group. I can't remember now. But it's the design can receive feedback. Maybe next week we can arrange a small group to actually go through with Hypha designer and someone on the development team to verify that it's doing what we have as an expectation for the MVP that ENF sponsored in their grant. And then very quickly that then moves into formal development in Hypha with an expectation of maybe something like a month, right? Ballpark, maybe a month. And that might actually allow us to move the next election itself, because that's in 2 months. Maybe that's actually possible to do in Hypha. No guarantees. Not sure if we want to do that at this stage from an Eden perspective, but it's a possibility that the community will be able to think about fairly soon. I guess that's what's on my mind. If there's any questions on that, go ahead. Dominic, did you want to add anything at all?
No, I don't have anything. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
All right. Well, moving on to communications and media, we would just like to say that we are looking for moderators for the Telegram channels. That's something that we are currently missing, having active moderators and covering the all of the hours throughout the day in the different time zones. So if anyone's interested, please reach out. I believe Patrick has put up a sheet for people to sign up to. So if anyone here is interested in that, please do sign up.
I just opened up the LinkedIn page here. This is one of this is not the only idea of how to expand Eden, but at least and there's been a few people support the idea that this could help us attract founders and other professionals and things to grow the community in the direction of it being a venture builder, VC, taking Web3 projects, bringing them into the EOS ecosystem, etc. Having a professional representation on LinkedIn makes sense. So here's the page. There are, I think, 10 followers so far. So we've got a community of 500 on the Genesis platform. We've got like however many in our Telegram community, maybe 150 at this point. And we've got 10 followers here. If you guys are showing up, then obviously please do at least follow the thing. And what I've done on my professional page, which is, I guess, not a requirement, but hopefully you guys can be proud enough that you would list your delegacy, is that a word? Delegation on, and I'm not doing this because I got the fancy title of head chief delegate. I actually added the level 1 delegate previously, but like here, you can get them to show up one after another. If you get additional roles at the same organization. I wasn't actually able to achieve that yet when I added this Eden one, but I did try. But basically, if we're representing how proud we are of being just a member, any member is privileged to be part of this community, especially as a level 1 delegate. The wider world doesn't really know what that means, but then we're showcasing our presence to the world. And then if you're following the page, then you'll see the updates that you can then share and build your profile on LinkedIn if you don't have that already, which is useful for your own careers. It also helps as us being scouts to attract, and we're showing a presence on LinkedIn, and we can start to attract founders, funders, and new members. Those 3 brackets is what I'm thinking. So that's the page. The Comms Media Group can start to actually publish content. Patrick has done so just with the first couple of items, but we can start to use that as a channel in the working group conversation for comms and media.
Yeah, media asset management. Can I address that real quick?
Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that that's a conversation that's happened in the comms and media working group as well as in the tech dev working group. We'd like to get more input from the developers and the more technically or technologically savvy members of the community on what you guys would recommend as password managers or some sort of decentralized asset managers for those kind of things. So yeah, if we could get people adding to that conversation in the Telegram with links, maybe we could start deciding on what the options are. We've had a few being put forward from several people, but the more the merrier. So we're looking forward to hearing from you guys.
All right, so let's move on. What's this? Community channels. Oh, so there was something that we were discussing a couple of days ago. I think that was in the government. In the governance working group. The use of how we use. There's a Eden on EOS standalone Telegram group. There's obviously also the EOS community Telegram group itself. Then we've got this Eden on EOS community Telegram, and then we're adding Notion. So we'll have working groups having private data or conversations as they require to keep certain data private from the big wide world rather than it being open like publicly to everyone. So we're questioning the usefulness of the Eden on EOS standalone Telegram group. Rather than it be the face of our community, which really it just kind of looks like I'm not quite a spam channel, but because it's all focused around our community topics, it's not really a welcoming introduction to what our community is about. And it's not really the depth of conversation, the quality of conversation that we are having in our community Telegram, right? If you see the difference, it's difficult to describe because it's like, why do we have these separate things? So there's options. I'm just introducing it here, keen to see if there's any reflections on that, or we'll hand this over to the working group conversation that we'll meet and maybe try and make the decision to have the standalone group become an announcement channel only and not a discussion channel, so that all of the discussions happen inside of our actual Telegram community. And then we have Notion for deeper dive work or private conversation. Hands are up, so let's go to Mo first of all.
Yeah, I just wanted to make the distinction that what you're saying is the Eden on EOS public Telegram channel versus the private members Telegram channel. That's the discussion that's happening, the question that's being asked. I just felt like it might not have been clear to everyone what the standalone Eden on EOS, what you meant by that. So it's the public facing Eden on EOS Telegram channel.
Right, got it. So that's the way to describe it. So yeah. It would mean having the public channel become an announcement channel and the private channel becoming a public channel.
Exactly.
And then the private stuff happening in Notion. So that's what we're trying to juggle with. Again, we'll probably have a deeper dive on reflection in the actual comms working group, but for visibility or input from anyone else on this call, then that's what we're talking. Perry, over to you.
Yeah, where I'm at on that is that I really like Notion, and I think it's a great place to keep most of our internal, with the exception of maybe one or two pages that are public, but everything else seems reasonable to keep private. But our discussions, our meetings, I think, and our Telegram discussions, I think those should be public. I think that's this is a members only group, true, but we are supposedly an open decentralized. So for me, the reflection of that is a Telegram group that is read only to the public, a single Telegram group that has an announcements topic or a general topic, or an intake topic, what have you, and that the comments, the discussions are only, or the ability to comment, the ability to post is only available to members. I think that's a simplification of what we're doing, and at the same time, it reflects the fact that we are a public. We are a public group, even though we have a membership. We're not a private group, and I think it's our best advertisement, right? People can see what we're doing, and the only reason to really go private is if we're passing private keys or that kind of thing. I don't think anything else really belongs private. I don't see the reason for it to be private. I think we should be public. So that's my feedback.
Good, thanks for that. If there's anyone else, go ahead. Mo, over to you.
Yeah, that option has been suggested, opening up the members channel, the private members channel, as a read only, but the answers we've been getting is that that's not possible. So if people can see it, they can contribute to it, basically.
It's not possible.
No.
Yeah, the Telegram doesn't necessarily have that ability to make channels read inside of a community. Each of the channels we've got, it doesn't seem that it can be read only on a case by case basis.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But well, maybe it's a member by member basis. I'll check into that. But let's move that conversation to the comms working group. And so let's move on with the agenda. If there's nothing else from anyone else on that topic, then you're visible. You got that visibility. So let's move on to finance. Is AJ in the house today? Nope. All right. Mo, do you want to take that? Automation of expenditures?
Sure. Generally, the discussion in that working group was the idea of having an expenditure call, an invoice call for expenditures once a week, where if you've had expenditures, you would submit those invoices or transactions and to your lead and have them guide them to the finance department, where they would go into tracking your expenditures. So it's just a way to keep all of these things updated and keep the accountability high and transparency high in this organization. Then it was suggested that if we could automate that as best as possible, given that this is a technologically advanced group of members, if we had an app or something that that facilitated that, it would be good. The Spend Explorer, for example, would be something to use. We've already had that active in this community for at least 9 months, I believe. It's something that all of the delegates should be more in the habit of using, and it was suggested that we upgrade and expand the utility of it. So I think it would be a fantastic use of funds to dedicate to that. I believe it's also open source, and anyone that's interested, it doesn't necessarily have to be Dania, could continue to develop that.
I'm not sure how the Spend Explorer upgrades will tie in if we're using Hypha for the elections. So maybe we need to include Hypha developers, because the smart contracts exist, and it's a case of to what extent we can have a UI in the Hypha platform that can work with the smart contracts that already exist, and how those upgrades happen. That's my only reflection.
Does Hypha have anything of that nature where it would track expenditures?
In
Yes.
the pipeline, it does. Yeah. Dom, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it has the very minimum, payouts and stuff, and recurring payouts and invoices and all the documentation around something like that. Now, it wouldn't track like every little transaction yet, but that is coming. That's the next step, is contribution accounting.
And in terms of, are you guys familiar with the Spend Explorer and its UI? It's how it visualizes the costs and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool thing.
So yeah, it's really just a question of habituating the delegates into utilizing it more, and they would facilitate tracking where they're spending their funds.
Yeah, is this one here, Eden? It's in the footer of the platform, Eden Spend Explorer. We click on that and we get some fancy pie charts that haven't been updated for a long way. Do I click on start? Like delegate income shows distributions. So yeah, if delegates are not familiar with that, anyone on the call, then go and find that in the footer of the Genesis platform. But this is the conversation.
It is highly useful. Facilitates tracking and continuing the fund distribution summary that we started last term. It would facilitate updating that, and the Excel sheet that you guys should be also familiar with that we posted, which you guys can see the raw data of what we've gathered so far. Something else that was discussed in the finance working group that's not on the agenda was continuing to fund those efforts. So looking forward, we hope that that's something that we continue to be doing and maintaining that data up to date. And for that, of course, we would need people to put forward proposals to do this.
Let's go to governance. So Mo, do you want to talk about dispute resolution?
Generally, it's just the idea that was also thrown out in the tech dev working group of dispute resolution process app that would facilitate also the use of the dispute resolution process. It's, as many know, several pages long. However, if it was an app, it would be reduced to a few clicks of a phone or a few keys. So it's really just a question of getting the UX done and the UI done where it enables that ease of use. And it's pretty intuitive. I don't think it's very complicated at all once it's reduced to something like that. So hopefully we get some proposals from people wanting to do that work. And then we discussed the code of conduct. I don't know if you want to pull that up, Gabriel, if you have it on at hand. Well, generally, we had a code of conduct that was suggested that we edited a little bit, added a little bit to it, and just try to move it forward so it's more comprehensive and able to fit our needs. Hopefully, we can see that a little bit and go over it really quickly. But generally, the idea was to have this internal code of conduct, and then for with the idea that we're going to have a public-facing Eden on EOS Telegram channel, then we would have a very much simplified code of conduct that would be applied to non-members in that Telegram channel. So you'd have two codes of conduct, one much simpler and one that would be applied to the actual members.
So this is basically adapting from this link that I found many months ago, and I shared it at the time. And so we're doing a few, like maybe Lenny's added some comments, Han added a comment also December of last year. But basically it's the moderation policy that is the change, right? There's, Mo, you've done some changes. Do you want to just take us through this bit of the moderation policy?
Sure. I'll try to go quickly. Basically, in the code of conduct, community members, we as a community prefer a sociocratic governance approach of giving everyone a voice that is heard by the community and so on, and then just addressing generally what we see as issues amongst each other that we should not be, what infractions that we should not be committing against each other. Generally just being polite, avoiding slander, ad hominem attacks, threats, disrespect, and things that you could usually, or having a dispute resolution process, raise a claim against someone for actually doing these things. So it's just having it in writing and having something to reference to. And then if you have something that you can actually point to as proof, then raise a claim against someone and say, this person has been acting this way, which is not something that we would encourage in this community. Conduct of delegates, that's something that I believe we want to continue expanding on, but more in terms of behavior rather than any responsibility. As you guys can see here, that's more of what's written. So that's all going to be edited out. And that's more of the behaviors that we would like to see from delegates and chief delegates.
Do you want to talk to that? Like we'll share the link, but it basically just says, so I'll read it.
Sure.
This is what the moderator would paste into a Telegram channel if they feel the need. And it says, please note this line of communication has triggered a moderation policy warning. The style of communication is perceived either as overly confrontational or even disrespectful, manipulative, or otherwise needlessly offensive. Please resume our standard "we're on the same team" tone of discussion. To continue a heated discussion, it can be taken to the debate channel. So the idea is, again, that's pasted at the discretion of any moderator in any of our Telegram channels. And then from there, once that's been shared, then repeat violations will trigger a temporary ban at the discretion of moderators. And then it can advance if it's repeated. And again, if there's consensus within the moderator group, then the person can even be permanently banned after repeat warnings. Hopefully that we never have to get to that, but if there are particular people that get into the community and are just totally disruptive, then we've got the power to do that. The main thing though is maybe just the first one. It's just a warning and say, call your jets, change the tone of voice. Let's carry on with discussing things in a better way. That's it. Anything else to add on there, Mo?
Generally, that's about it. It addresses a little bit what it would look like in terms of a video meeting, moderation warning, temporary mute, permanent mute, and a term meeting ban is essentially what we were suggesting. And that's about that, about the gist of it. So I think that sums it up. If you guys want to.
Yeah, anything from the group in terms of governance or that code of conduct or the moderation policy to talk about? Working group is supposed to have its own projects that support Eden on EOS, and the incubator is funding external projects or projects that Eden on EOS deems as a good investment that can build the EOS ecosystem. So the working groups are to build Eden on EOS, and the incubator is to build the EOS ecosystem through funded projects.
Exactly. All right, so the incubator will have no actual control or enact anything. It'll just be the place where the new project ideas go to.
It's not managing private keys or whatever it was that you started with.
Right.
So we have the governance working group, finance, to administer. Right, finance is administrating, right?
Right, it's finance and administrative. Governance and elections and those kind of things happen there. So maybe they're the ones that are in charge of the web page or what that looks like and giving those ideas, but the people implementing it might be the tech dev side where the actual work is happening. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, we really have to get a better culture of all of these working groups working with each other. Ideally, having leads from each one meeting with each other and being in contact would be great.
No, it made sense. The thing with the finance or the tech dev was the people there. I don't think were very tech savvy, including myself. And the conversation shifted to a planning. So I was wondering, just where that was going. But I see it coming together. I know this is the first one. There's going to be issues identified. But, and you know what? Maybe the how the CDs relate to the working groups will be there as well. I did bring up, if you're a lead of one group, who are you going to be have closest contact to? And maybe that'll help as well. Anyway, never mind.
Generally speaking, leads should all be in contact with each other depending on their needs, I guess.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Every lead doesn't have to speak with every other lead, but they should be in contact with other leads that they have an interest in being in contact with. Ideally, it would happen amongst each other and not directly go into the chief delegates every time for every single thing. And anything that's coming top down from the chief delegates, then of course it would be useful and they should be in contact with the leads. Once we have the leads going and the working groups going as well, it would be good to have meetings between the chief delegates and the leads.
So I will present the Leadsparker process that Jesse and I created. So basically, this is a way to qualify and attract leads for basically our clients. So we are using RBs, which are from Nigeria, and we are using ChatGPT to create the comments that they will put on Twitter. So this is a two-step process. So the first process is that once we have the lead list, which are for now Twitter accounts on Twitter because we are only on Twitter, our bees will put 3 comments on their tweets, on 3 different tweets, and those comments will be about them. So I will show you an example. I'll show you an example here that we have already done for crypto project called CoinMetro. So this comment that you see is among one of the three. Each comment is different, and like I said, the first three is about basically it's about them. And what happened is that if one of the three get an engagement from the Twitter account or an influential member like the CEO, CTO of the crypto project, like you can see here, Metro liked the comment. Basically, what happened is that we unleash phase two, step two, sorry. Step two is that the B continue to put comments, which is going to be 3 new comments, but this time it will be about potential relationship and potential collaboration between the crypto project and the client we are representing or the service. So in this case, this is the bees, but for Eden, it's going to be about Eden. So we are going to create those comment prompts with Jesse. And what we hope is that on those 3 comments, one of them gets liked a comment by the Twitter account of one of the important member of the community, and then this is where the relationship starts, and then we can talk to them and explain what the service is. And so this is what I'm going to do with Eden. So I put a screenshot of this is from the funding proposal template on the left. So we have, it's written 10, but I think it's 9 weeks now, from now to the end of the round, of the Eden round. It's written that we anticipate that 8.44 project will be interested in joining the Eden incubator. So this is a number to take with a grain of salt because it comes from the data we already have for what we've done for selling Swarm, basically selling the Swarm service and Leadsparker service. So it's likely it could be way less and way more. We don't know, and also the market condition play a huge role in that, obviously. So I put the roadmap in here, and on the right side there is basically a little screenshot about how Leadsparker differentiated itself as a system to attract leads, qualify leads. So yeah, that's pretty much it about the funding. So I think I can't see it on my screen because this is the yeah, I think based on our calculation, so I don't know how the vote's gonna go, the debate's gonna go if Leadsparker should be funded or not. Those 8.44 projects is based on if I receive $1,100 to fund this, because the more dollars I receive, the more leads we can comment on and potentially attract to join Eden incubator. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my presentation. Thank you, guys. Yeah, you can go on.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, given that good presentation, I think, and a good resource that would be useful to delegates who one of their responsibilities as delegates is to provide the incubator with projects, at least one per term. This would be a resource to use. I would suggest that they come to us directly, or to the incubator lead, and get in contact if they're interested with having some projects fed to them that they could then get in contact with and take advantage of. So
I'm good at this. I can draw the line. If the bees are pro Web3, this is pro Web3. How you get there may not be great, but it's solid there. It's a solid theory.
Okay, all right, guys. Look, we're not going to solve these kind of differences of automation and whatnot on this call, so it's not worth trying to haggle it in the last minute or two of the call. We'll continue this conversation though. Mo, any closing comments from you or anyone else?
no, from my end, I would just say that yeah, I think it's a great product. I think it's been a productive meeting, and we should continue the discussions on Telegram and keep the productivity coming throughout the week.